Hello? Can anyone hear me? I'm a couple minutes early. Can anyone hear me? If anyone's there, I actually don't even know how to see if anyone's here. Can anyone hear me? Hello? Can anyone hear me? Is this working? Oh, you can hear me, Allison? I wonder why I can't hear myself. Hello?
Can anyone hear me?
Oh, okay, now I can. Okay. Welcome, Allison. I just want to let you know I made you a moderator. Oh, you can tell because you have a wrench. Okay, so for tonight, what I wanted to do is go through. Oh, hey, Jibs. If you want to be one, Allison. If you don't want to be a moderator, you can just let me know. I just learned how to add mods. Okay, so Jeffrey Lacasse was interviewed 3 times, we know this, by Tallahassee Police Department. And this is a video of the second interview, which occurred on July 23rd, 2014. It's just under 32 minutes long. This interview is by Detective Corey Hale. And this interview is about 36 hours after his first interview with Isom. I did not get that actual video from TPD. The records administrator had emailed me saying that there was no interview conducted on July 21st. And I'm not really going to argue with her. I think I'm just going to probably re-request it and maybe send a screenshot. And because that was the interview where he like drove in from Tennessee and went straight to TPD. So this is the second interview. And we are going to play it. And probably we'll pause every once in a while. I'm not anticipating being here for hours, but we'll pause it and then, discuss things. And I can read the chat. So I have done a live before, but I didn't do it through StreamYard. And I had my thumb over the camera the whole time, like months ago. But all right. So we're going to go ahead and play the video. Oh, hang on. Sorry. Oh, so I'm going to have to pause it outside of this. Interesting. Okay, so it starts at like 1:42 in the afternoon. That's the video. That's the video. That's the video. Sorry. Hang on with me. I'm going to do a little 5 seconds forwarding. If I hear anything. Incidentally, the last 2 minutes of this video where it's like a black screen, you actually can hear in the very distant, faint background, the detectives talking. Hi, Michael. Welcome. How are you? Thank you for being here. This is Jeffrey Lacasse's. I go back and forth saying Lacasse and Lacasse, so just bear with me on that. This is the second interview.
Where do you want me to sit?
You can just sit right here, and I'll sit right here with you.
Made a couple.
With Detective Corey Hale at the Tallahassee Police Department. This interview was conducted on July 23rd, 2014, and this interview is give or take about 36 hours after he is first interviewed by ISOM when he drove in from Tennessee and went straight to the department or Tallahassee Police Department to be interviewed by ISOM. Okay.
Couple of notes I've been thinking.
Okay. Do you have a credit card?
I do.
The one that you sent me the email
Got it right here.
on? Can I just make a copy of that?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna charge anything to you.
That's fine. That's fine.
But I just gotta show.
You can't trust the police to hold on your credit card.
Well, here's the thing, your account doesn't necessarily show that you are the account holder. There's nothing in that
Gotcha.
correspondence.
Gotcha.
So I'm just gonna make a copy of this, and really what this is doing is just working to exclude you as a suspect.
Absolutely. Yeah. I can also get
You've
you
pretty much done that.
Well, I thought so. I'm sure my cell phone records would show that to you.
Well, I kind of showed this to my boss and they're like, well, let's just go ahead and verify that he has this account number.
Sure, gotcha.
And you weren't locking on to somebody else.
Yeah.
Conspiracy theory stuff, I know.
Gotcha. Well, no, you guys gotta be careful.
Yeah, we got to check everything out. So I'll be right back. I'll
Yeah,
make a copy of this and then I'll come right back.
Oh, and another thing about this is that you cannot see Jeffrey's face the entire time. You don't even see Hale's face. I think Hale is like a lieutenant or a captain or major. I get very confused with the hierarchy. I apologize. No disrespect. My husband's law enforcement. I still don't get it. I don't think he's in investigations anymore, but actually Corey Hale came out to a wreck that I was in a couple years ago. He was like the big man on scene. it was in, morning traffic on North Monroe. Everybody was late to work and school that day. Okay, I'm gonna skip forward for a second. I don't want to bore you guys. There's some good little tidbits in this one.
Thought I was locked in here for a second.
Oh, congratulations on retirement a few years ago, Michael.
Okay. I just thought of a few things that might be useful to you. So.
Okay. Sorry, got a million things going on here.
Sure you do.
And now, is this just kind of like theory kind of stuff, or is it just kind of you had some time to think about what I talked to you
actually,
about?
what it's been is I had a 14-day break while she was in South Florida, and last 7 days I haven't heard from her yet. So we're at day 22, 23, no longer under the spell. I'm starting to see a few things a little more.
Okay, I did not print out a transcript. I wouldn't even know how to do any of that, even though closed caption is available on this particular interview. But that's the first time that we hear Jeffrey say under her spell in this interview. So real quick, I just want to say this. Detective Corey Hale, he has not, he's probably been privy to a lot of the information that Jeffrey provided to Isom, the day and a half before. However, at this point in time in a homicide investigation, he has not had time to watch the Jeffrey interview or even watch Wendy's interview that Isom conducted, right? This is just, he's here following up. Plus he was also, we'll learn, like, he ran into, sounds like him in the background at the very end of the video, that he ran into Jeff in the lobby and then proceeded to bring him back.
Clearly.
Okay.
It's been a month since we were intimate, a month since she kind of controlled me that way. So it's I'm starting to clear up a little bit, man. I'm not under the spell. So there's just some things I think you should know.
Okay, we're not playing a drinking game or anything, but he's said that he was under her spell again.
I'll try to go quick. I know you're busy.
Okay.
But
I appreciate you.
First, there was 2 quick things. You probably already have these, but there's a professor in the department that's totally obsessed with her. You probably already got that.
Who was that?
He's got really bad teeth. I don't know his name. He called her goddess, and he would send her inappropriate texts. I can't imagine that Wendy wouldn't have mentioned that, but just to make sure you had it. He's an older guy, probably in his 60s. I don't know his name, but he called her goddess. And he's no fan of Markel.
I think I know who you're talking about. I haven't talked to him specifically, but
Seems unlikely, but I figured you want everything.
Okay.
And there was this was one that I thought of. There was a student in the fall that was really inappropriate with her. She forwarded a couple of emails to me, and he actually kissed her on the mouth during a teacher-student meeting in her office. That was kind of weird. So I don't know his name or anything else, but there was the student that, if you're looking for obsession, that was strange for a student to lean in and kiss a professor on the mouth.
yeah.
So that's just, when you would know the name, she was disturbed, but I don't know. If you really needed it, I have that email somewhere. Might have been a cocky student trying to pick up his hot prof. I don't know, but.
If you can find it, you got my email address.
Yeah, would you like to see that one? Okay,
Sure,
I'll send you an email. I think his address is on it.
Yeah, we haven't excluded anyone really at this point.
Gotcha.
So.
Okay, a couple other things. I've been seeing a therapist since about I don't have any major mental health problems, but just to try to deal with Wendy, I was seeing my therapist I used to see when I was going through my divorce. So I was thinking about what we talked about in there, and I spent like $2,000 on therapy trying to figure out how to deal with Wendy. She's been really hard to handle. And I realized I never put it together, but he for months has been concerned that she's a sociopath. And I didn't tell you guys that before. I still love Wendy. I was under her spell. She called me tomorrow. I'd probably go back to her. But there's a lot of stuff that as I look.
Okay, so he's talking about he's under her spell again. And then he says if she called me tomorrow, I'd go back to her. Ugh. That is funny, Michael. Oh, I don't know how to bring up comments in StreamYard. Or let me see. Sorry. Oh, this is the one I wanted to. Oh, okay. I see. It says show. So I'm going to. That's the one that I wanted to show. Okay, now that I know how to do that. Okay, I'm sorry. I will keep going.
Look back, it was really strange. To give you a couple examples. Well, I guess one of the things I worry about is Wendy has this public persona, and she's a very good actress, and she's very charismatic, and all this kind of stuff. And she knows a lot of people. You know, everybody in Tallahassee knows Wendy. You probably discovered that already. I mean, she's in every social circle. You know, she's very social butterfly-esque and out there and stuff. But in terms of people that know her intimately, who spent like a lot of time with her and seen behind the curtain, you know, I think it's Markel, me, and maybe that SAC guy the last 12, 13 years. I mean, she doesn't, you know what I mean? So some of the stuff I had seen was pretty crazy stuff. I mean, no sense of guilt, no empathy, hypersensitivity to criticism. When I said, hey, you cheated, I mean, that's fucked up. She would not apologize. She would not say she felt bad. She would not say she made a mistake. She's a total pathological liar. And I feel bad saying all this because I still love her. She has these flaws and I would have stayed with her. But if you look back at Markel's legal documents, he's constantly talking about her systematic pattern of deception, how she lies all the time. And she told me once, I have a really hard time telling the truth when it's inconvenient or unpleasant. I lie all the time. I mean, she said that to me. So I never would have thought that Wendy was, I know she didn't pull the trigger or anything like that. But the more I thought about it, how much I was manipulated, how much of a spell I was under, all that kind of stuff, I feel kind of creeped out right now that not, I don't know if she's a suspect or not, the paper says she isn't. But as an accessory, it makes a lot of sense to me at a certain point. So, and I don't know that many people that know her that well. When you see behind the curtain, she's a total train wreck. My psychologist was saying, man, she just meets the checklist of a narcissistic sociopath. Go down the list. So obviously she's already a person of interest and all that kind of stuff, but I thought you should know that I'm a mental health myself.
Right.
So I never saw that when I was under the spell, but I've had people trying to convince me for 3 or 4 months you're dating someone who has real severe sociopathic tendencies.
Right.
So high functioning and attractive, but still, you know, bad.
Yeah.
So that's something I just thought I should tell you.
Sure.
And just a couple clarifications from last time, things that struck me as odd as I reflected back on it.
Okay, I just wanted to pause it for real quick. So Jeffrey has already said he's under this spell like 6 times. We're like less than 12 minutes. Well, probably only about 10 minutes into them talking because it took a couple minutes to get set up. And he's also talking about sociopathic tendencies. He's thrown out another, like, you know, psychobabble term. No offense to him. I know he's highly educated, but right now, and I think Corey Hale does a really good job, but I think because he's not privy to what happened with the first interview, and how Jeffrey is kind of really, wound up tight, if you know what I mean. Um, at times he shows disinterest, but then he shocks me at other times when he like totally catches on with what he's saying. So sorry, just wanted to put that in there. But yeah, I mean, Jeff's an expert. I mean, I think his expertise is I guess social work, but yeah, I'm sure he's met a lot of interesting people in the academia world of social work. I don't know how much he's practiced social work or actually done any social work outside of academia. Like, I think he's mostly just a professor. But I have read at least one, and I think maybe I started reading another one of his articles that he's written on psychotropic medication and the effects that they have on children. Very, very interesting stuff that he publishes and studies.
It was really disturbing to me that she told you guys that she thought I stalked her. Because I thought about it. It really bothered me because we had arguments about this. We had
Who told you that?
the other investigator.
Okay.
Yeah,
See, I didn't interview her, so I don't know what their conversation
Well,
was.
she's also said this. I mean, it's one thing to say, you cheated on me. You invaded my privacy. Argument. That happens.
Right.
Okay. It's another thing to go to the police when there's an open homicide investigation and tell the investigators when I'm a person of interest.
I think that's part of a rap song.
She knows I didn't stalk her. She knows exactly what happened.
So what do you think that is?
Well, I just noticed that.
I think that's part of a rap song, Michael. A lady in the streets and a freak in the sheets.
That Markel, everybody's told me what a nice guy Markel is, and I thought he was Satan.
I'm gonna go back for 1 second.
She knows I didn't stalk her. She knows exactly what happened.
So here's when Jeffrey's talking about Wendy. Okay, so a lot of people are probably texting Jeff and telling Jeff what Wendy's saying. He's basically saying that Wendy's telling people that she's stalking him. I believe it is in this video. We'll see in a minute. Like, Wendy wrote something in her calendar about like discuss stalking with Jeffrey. Okay, let's continue.
So what do you think that is?
Well, I just noticed that Markel, everybody's told me what a nice guy Markel is, and I thought he was Satan because in our household, he's a psychopathic, stalking, emotionally abusive, controlling jerk. That's how Wendy thinks of him. Now I know.
And that's her assessment of him.
Yes.
Do you have the same assessment of him?
I did when I was with her because I didn't know. I just believed her.
Right.
But no one else has. What I hear from everybody else is he's an arrogant dick. As far as a academic, there's a lot of professors that are arrogant.
Sure.
But he's a good man. That's what I hear people saying. He was a good father. He was a good man, and he was really upset with Wendy. Starting to understand why, maybe. Because all of a sudden I'm a stalker, and this is just fascinating to me. I was married for 3 years, never raised my voice to my wife. You saw I have no record, no DV, and this is not me. You know what I mean? It's like, so it's it seemed kind of. Again,
why do you think she would allege that? And again, I didn't interview her, so I don't know.
I don't know. I know I'm not under any, I didn't commit crime or anything. It wasn't like that, but I think it. I don't know. I don't want to speculate. I don't think she's trying to frame me or anything like that. When I thought about it, I don't even have a motive here. If Danny's gone, she's gone. It makes no sense. You know what I mean? The only thing, this wasn't, that's another thing I would say is, I don't know if you've heard this from other people, but I read all the legal documents. I was helping her draft emails. We're working together and all this stuff. And Danny was about to get his ass handed to him in court in the fall. The whole legal community knew that.
So that part was interesting. He said Danny was about to get his ass handed to him in the courtroom in the fall. So this is what Wendy is telling Jeffrey. And he also just said that he's read the entire case. And he's not talking about this homicide case. He's talking about their case in family court in regards to custody after the dissolution of the marriage. So that's interesting. And from I don't know what I've heard, I don't have access or I don't have those court records, but I do know that some people have read them out or read some things that they've collected from the divorce court case, family court case. And yeah, motions from Dan Markel were very wordy, like, 16, 20 pages long. So that's interesting that he just said that Dan Markel was going to get his butt handed to him in family court in the fall.
And it's like he's out on a limb. And he had a new girlfriend, Amy Adler. He spent a lot of time with her. He actually backed off when he used to harass her with emails a lot. And that's why the timing of this was a little strange. Because as far as Danny, her life had never been better than the last 2-3 months. He had really backed off. So this is all about if there's a motive in relocation. I mean, it doesn't have to do with it. He would file spurious legal complaints and stuff like that. But he kind of stopped that, actually. But I mean, that's not, it just, again, that sounded sociopathic to me, like deflection, I mean, it seemed unnecessary. So a couple other things. There's some timing things here. I hope this is all wrong and you find some disgruntled student that shot him. I want Wendy and her kids to have a good life in South Florida. I still love them. I still care about them. I miss them. I'm pretty heartbroken over all this. But if you want information, I had some things to say.
I think you're right, Allison. Wait, I mean, this is definitely something that I've wondered. I think that she was dropping hints when she brings up the 15 or the 15,000, 50 or $15,000. I think that she was trying to see if Jeffrey perked up, if it would be something that he'd be interested in. Remember, he's like staying in like a not too fancy, totally like bottom of the barrel college apartment, like what sophomores get when they move out of dorms after their freshman year. So he's like staying in a pretty rough area and he's trying to save up, right? He's driving this older car. I believe his car was like 10 years old at the time. It wasn't like a 2004 Nissan Sentra. We'll learn it wasn't necessarily in really great repair. He has a blowout. That's what's kind of crazy. He actually has a blowout on his way to Tennessee when he's like escaping Tallahassee. Okay, I'll continue. I'll hush.
So we have this big fight in Gainesville. And I really confronted her. I'm really hard on her. I'm pissed because I feel like I've been conned because she's been calling me her boyfriend and all this kind of stuff. And I don't know exactly what the relationship was with Zach, but I found out enough that it was very clear that she was busted, that she was juggling 2 guys in some form or fashion. I don't know the details. Yeah. I got the impression I was boyfriend number 2 is why I was pissed. I mean, there's no picture on the Facebook page. I noticed there wasn't even a picture of me in her house. And that's when I got really, really upset. I was like, come on, we've been dating 9 months. This is bizarre, So I had it out with her in Gainesville. Then she went to South Florida for 14 days. The whole time she's down there, she's miserable and not that available. But we're talking about future-oriented stuff. We're talking about trying to get back together and desperate to see each other. It sucks that we're separated in this bad situation. I can show you the text, like, can't imagine my life without you. God, I fucking miss you. I mean, these are like exact quotes, She
Thanks. Okay, Jibs. Yeah, I'm in a blowout on his tire. Yeah, not an infant blowout like in a diaper. No, it wasn't anything like that. It was or not his hair either. It was a tire blew out on his little.
She gets back to town. We go on a date.
Little his words, not mine, but I think he's called it like a crappy car. His crappy car.
And I said it was awkward, but we were holding each other, we're holding hands. We go on a date. God, We're talking about trying to get back together and desperate to see each other. it sucks that we're separated in this bad situation. I can show you the text, like, can't imagine my life without you. God, I fucking miss you. I mean, these are like exact quotes, you know. She gets back to town. We go on a date. And I said it was awkward, but we were holding each other. We're holding hands. There was a future orientation. Still, we're going to spend a lot of time together and work this out. That's what we had decided.
Yes, Allison, that would be good if you want to email me any of those articles. I'd appreciate it. I believe at some point I did have employees that were actually giving him information for some of his articles because I worked in child abuse investigations for almost 2 decades up here. I don't know if you call it semi-retired, but I left my career about 5 years ago.
Decided to do. That was last Monday. It gets really strange from there, and it makes me suspicious. Maybe I'm just paranoid. But then on Tuesday, she called me at 2 or 3 in the afternoon. She said, I walked out of my house. We're going to see each other that night. And I say, okay, I walked out of your house. What are you going to do? I try to get a key, but I probably need a locksmith. I said, oh, well, I'll come out and we'll just hang out on your front porch and have our date there. And she's like super sweet and friendly. And it was like everything was okay, actually. She was like, I would love it if you would come keep me company, see you in a little bit, call each other baby, this kind of stuff. When I showed up.
Okay, so Jeffrey's talking about that Tuesday, right? And this is so important because if you look at call logs and what we've seen from the trials in regards to who's calling who and what's happening on the 14th, it's very interesting because right now, you know, Wendy's locked out of her Aqua Ridge home. I've actually seen that house, you guys. It's beautiful. I mean, I know that she was only renting it. It's beautiful. I happened upon it because I am familiar with Garden View, which is like the main road that it's off of in this neighborhood called Killarn. And I'm familiar with that because it's kind of like a cut through to get to like Centerville Road instead of going through a large part of the bigger neighborhood. So yeah, I did see that house. It's very nice. So I'm assuming, I think that Patty said that she was renting it for about, I think $2,000 a month back then. So yes, Aqua Ridge Way, if I didn't say it correctly. Thank you. Hi, Bob from accounting. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Jeffrey Lacasse's second interview at the Tallahassee Police Department. It's being conducted by Detective Corey Hale. And this one is give or take about 36 hours after his initial interview with Isom the night that he drove in and, you know, arrived there in the early morning hours of the 21st after his return trip from Tennessee. I could, Allison, I don't know if I would be able to know how to do that like on StreamYard, but I mean, I know it's 3303, like those numbers are in my, you know, mind. So, but at least probably over a year ago, like Patty's definitely shown the house. But yeah, we'll see what I can do.
Went up to yoga and ended up that she got into our house. We went to yoga together instead, and we just met there. When I showed up to yoga at 7, something was completely different. She was gone.
So here he's explaining that basically between her getting locked out of the house, wanting him to come over and hang out with her on the porch while they waited for a locksmith, and then I guess she ended up getting in the house. He didn't go over there. So between 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. when he meets her at yoga, Wendy has had an entire change of heart.
There. When I showed up to yoga at 7, something was completely different. She was gone. I mean, and that might have been just her talking to her friend and says dump him and she decides it and that's it. It had nothing to do with your case. But I would be really curious to know if I was you, who she talked to between 3 and 7, because something happened where I seem to be irrelevant all of a sudden. And this is after 15, 16 days of her wanting us to, let's just work this out. It just turned in a second. And then it gets a little stranger from there, actually.
And this was Tuesday preceding the 18th.
Exactly. Anyway, so I'm
At
never.
what point did she send you the email?
That was that
recite
night.
it
That
from
was
memory.
that Tuesday night. That was Tuesday
Okay.
night, which I suspect was already in her head.
Well, that may have been, she maybe came to a finalization that she was going to do that.
She may have, and I don't want to make this all about me. There's bigger things here, but I did notice some things. I mean, so she's done with me, right? Okay, I'm looking at her. It's not right. Something's wrong here. I walk out to the car, and it's really awkward, small talk. I can tell she thinks she's done. But she asked me if I was going to be here this weekend. Now she's done. I should give a shit if I'm here Friday. She asked me directly, "Are you going to be here Friday?" And I said, "Maybe it's up in the air." And it wasn't up in the air. I just didn't want to seem desperate, and I was just going to stay here and not take my trip if Wendy was willing to see me, is what that was about. But she was really interested. "Oh, why is it up in the air?" "Oh, because at his end there's a thing." "Okay, well, okay, talk to you
And
later."
this was prior to her sending you the email.
Prior to sending me the email, and the last thing I ever heard from Wendy, last words I exchanged with Wendy were, "Are you going to be here Friday?" I just thought you should know that. It may mean nothing, but it was kind of strange to me. Then the no contact order was also kind of strange to me. Usually you just send someone an email and say, "Hey, I need some time to think." She was very strict about that no contact thing. It was almost like she didn't want to be in front of me. I just busted her for
Well, she
that.
probably didn't want you to try and talk her out of it.
Maybe. I don't know.
That's my thinking.
Maybe. Or maybe she knew something was going to go down and didn't want me in front of her because I read her pretty well. And I just busted her on a whole host of lies,
Okay.
So this probably sounds crazy speculative. I just wanted to give you the information. So that struck me as kind of strange. Oh, I don't know if you guys have seen this yet. This was just weird. This is just stuff. Have you seen this picture? Probably seen it in the media accounts.
Mhm.
I mean, if you look at that picture, my friends that I don't have kids. My friends that have kids up and said, "Look how narcissistic that picture is. Who looks good in that picture?"
Okay, I'm so sorry. I was totally muted. I was just talking. Sorry. I paused it because I just wanted to talk about the photograph real quick. I think it's kind of funny that one of Jeff's colleagues is like, "Look at this narcissistic picture. Like Wendy's been photoshopped and her 2 kids don't look good in the picture," which is kind of funny in my opinion, because I don't think that most people just look at a picture and automatically like start, thinking that it's narcissistic. Hi, Veggie Girl. Thank you for letting me know I was muted. And welcome. This is the second interview conducted by TPD of Jeffrey Lacasse on July 23rd, 2014. But right now, Jeff's like showing that picture of her in the purple that Harvey photoshopped, and I guess made her larger breasts, but he didn't like tan them. I don't know if you guys remember that picture. Like every time I see Wendy in that picture, because it's been all over the place, and she's wearing that purple, and she has like a tan chest, but then there's like this white cleavage. It reminds me of the scene in A League of Their Own when Madonna's character is teaching the girl on the bus how to read, but they only have like a romance novel, and she's like, lily white breasts. Like, I'm sorry. Okay, side note. All right. But this is the picture that he's showing Hale, and this is the one that she actually changed her Facebook profile. Yeah, totally creepy that Harvey, her father, is photoshopping boobs. I definitely think that that's like creep factor. Others may not, but I agree.
Not Wendy's kids. Wendy. This comes out Thursday night. She changes this.
Mm-hmm. This is the one that you said she was taunting you with, or
well,
whatever.
maybe.
Or you thought she
my
was.
other friend, what the other speculation in the community, which is not for me, is like Wendy looks good, but this is a Photoshop picture. Her dad does photography stuff,
Mm-hmm.
So she looks way better than normal in this picture. If you knew you were going to be all over the media, that's how Wendy would want to look. So that may sound crazy to you, but just something to think about. I mean, when you want to picture your kids look good. There's other pictures in this photo set where the kid's looking at the camera and are smiling and look great.
Right.
So it's just weird. And I'm not trying to do your job for you to be like an FBI profiler, but it was a thing.
Right.
Here goes Jeffrey. I'm not trying to do your job for you or anything. I'm not an FBI profiler. Oh, he cracks me up. I know. Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel so bad for Jeffrey. But doesn't he say he's a 40-year-old man? At some point, like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. I think maybe he was in his bubble, but I mean, some of this stuff is like, I think like even like 18 to 25-year-old kid. I say kids because I'm a lot older than that, but like, young men and young women, I feel like they could kind of sense when they're being, bamboozled by a lover or a partner. It's just like, but I feel like if Jeff had to go to therapy just to date Wendy, that might have, that should have probably been a big red flag. All right, I'll keep going.
And then one of the last things would be, it still is, I don't want to be the disgruntled ex-boyfriend, but it's really strange to me that she's never contacted me. It's very strange. We were co-parenting for 6 months. We've talked about Danny for hundreds of hours. No one knows that case better than, as far as her friends, than me. It's really, really odd. I mean, your ex-wife and you are estranged, you're fighting, you're separated. Her dad gets hit by a car. You pick up the phone and call, usually, So there's a rigidity to this no contact thing. It just strikes me as.
Said the rigidity of this no contact thing. I wonder if, because he does clarify it later, but when cops usually hear like no contact, when I got the no contact from her, like that he keeps talking about, and because I've been in investigations as well, like I totally think right away that it's a domestic violence injunction. Like a no contact order is usually when those are tight, but he's basically calling Wendy's email, don't contact me, a no contact order. It's kind of funny. I see what you're saying. Yes, he does say that he's willing to take her back at this point. And Jibbs, I mean, the amount of Jeff's knowledge is very interesting. Actually, in fact, this entire case has always been interesting to me because there are so many people who knew like everything about their lives. Maybe I'm just more into privacy than others. I don't know, but it's like Wendy emailing 12 different people. Dan Markel's, latest motion in their divorce, like how the Greenbergs knew like a lot about like Dan's, after divorce or during divorce life, right? Like his sexual life. Like so many people know so many details about these two. It's interesting to me. They're just very open, and then I guess they just share everything.
She is very, very odd. She is. I know you said, hey, I wouldn't take that personally. I'm not taking it personally. We're done. I would get
Right.
it, But what I am taking it as is, it almost looks guilty to me. It looks really strange. Why wouldn't you call for one of these kids to bed for the last 6 months? And ride around in a minivan with them. You care about these kids. She knows that. Even if we're over, not a text message, not a phone call. It looks strange to me. So.
Right. And even more so in lieu of recent events.
Well, that's what I mean, is that when that happened, I didn't expect to hear from her that day. You guys hit her on, into the night. I know all that kind of stuff. But I still haven't heard a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That just is very, very strange. Maybe she's just a cold-blooded, damaged, needy woman that decided she was done with me, maybe.
I actually have always found it very interesting that Jeff left the night before, the 18th. I do not believe that he had direct knowledge. I do not believe that he had direct knowledge, but I think that with Wendy pressing, are you still going to be here on the 18th? How she was been, acting. We learn a lot in the March interview about all of the people. Like Jeff kept catching her cheating all the time, and I just find that kind of upsetting, just for him. But I think he I think there was something in him on that Thursday night that said that he thought maybe something was going to go down the next day, honestly, like on the 18th. And he talks about, just being frustrated and wanting to get out of town because of Wendy, but I think something was really itching at him. Okay, I'll go on.
But if there's any interest in her at all, there's a lot of sociopathic stuff here.
Okay, so I do want to put this. No, I would agree with you. I would agree with that, Bob from accounting. I mean, he might even be a little bit more down the Greek alphabet than Beta. What's next? Delta.
the ease with which she lies is really disturbing.
Mhm.
So that's all I had to say. I just thought you'd want to know that.
Okay. Yeah, well, I got you here. I did want to run down on some of your, I printed out your stuff that you sent me here. Let me just go flip to it and try and find it. Okay. And this actually is a little bit better to kind of have something tangible to look at, to kind of see where you are and where you were going and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm a little out of order because the one that cleared, but
That's a good point, Allison, about maybe Wendy wanted Jeff to catch her cheat. I mean, because he pretty much caught her cheating a lot, which is so crazy to me. But yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Make him, or maybe even play with his mind as well. Not only make him look like a jealous maniac, but also just be messing with his head.
Okay, so this day's end was actually, even though it says the 18th, I talked to the clerk and she said you were there on the 17th.
yeah, Thursday night.
Thursday night, which is what you said.
Yeah.
You know, so this is mainly done for exclusionary
I got it.
purposes.
I'm not worried.
So I got you here. And then when did this transaction occur? Like it doesn't have a time. Can you give me kind of more of a specific time?
Thomasville? Yes. That would have been on the way there, so 9, 10 o'clock.
PM.
Yeah.
And do you remember what time you got into the day's end?
Before midnight. What's think about it? I left here around 8. I wasn't going to drive past midnight. It might have been 12:15 or something. But I went from here to South Atlanta, average of 75 or something like that.
And then $37 in gas on Friday.
And where's that at?
At Ayersville, Georgia.
Yeah, that would have been somewhere between Atlanta and Tennessee.
And this was actually on Friday.
It was.
Okay, so even though this one says transaction date, it was close enough to the 18th that it may not have went through until after midnight.
You know what? It might have been 12:05 when you pulled the trigger on it or something.
Okay. Well, you just said anywhere between 12 and 12:15 you got there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ugh, I hate that he just said that. Said maybe it was like 12:05 when they pulled the trigger. He's talking about running his credit card, but he uses that term. It's definitely, as an investigator, that would have perked up my ears fast. Let's hear it again. I don't know if y'all can hear well.
After midnight.
You know what? It might have been 12:05 when you pulled the trigger on it or something.
Sorry. Hi, Patricia Burns. Good to see you. Okay. So they're talking about the credit card.
Until after midnight.
You know what? It might have been 12:05 when you pulled the trigger on it or something.
Okay. Well, you just said anywhere between 12 and 12:15 you got there.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you said you got out of here about 9 o'clock.
Yeah, it was about almost exactly 9.
And then what time did you start?
Good night, Michael. Thank you for joining.
About to get gas here on Friday.
I couldn't tell you. I know. I could tell you what time I had that flat tire because I texted my friend as soon as I got it.
Okay.
And that's what Miller's.
And that was Miller's Brothers Dairy.
Yeah, it's not a weird name for it.
Miller's Brothers Dairy. Isn't that a weird name for it? It's a dairy and the Miller brothers own it.
Yeah, that's
Okay, so remember we're talking about how I don't want to say how poor, but you know how well he even admits. I think he talks about being cash strapped because he's trying to save for a house. But so he's in this 10-year-old car, right? And he's like hauling butt out of Tallahassee to go to Tennessee. It's a long trip, has a stop off. The next day, before he gets to his destination, around, I think they said 12:32 or 12:50. I think they just said 12:32. He has a blowout tire. Like I understand that blowouts happen, but I can't imagine driving from Tallahassee to Tennessee and not making sure that like your vehicle is like in really good repair. Like, you know, new oil change, like tires, brakes. But maybe that's just me.
Going. 12:26 p.m. is when my tire blew. And that was
on the 18th.
Yeah, and that would have been on the 75, probably 10 miles from Athens, Georgia. From the exit, forgot.
Okay, 12:26 p.m. on Friday the 18th. I think he said a few miles south of Athens, Georgia, is when he has a tire blowout in his car. Yeah, I see what you're saying, Patricia. I'm sorry, I'm gonna react to the chat real quick. But our Craig Isom, retired TPD man, is not deceased. Another dude named Craig Isom, who was actually a lot younger than Detective Isom, passed away like a year ago or so. I do remember when Fancy had put out that Craig Isom had died, but I do also remember that she put out something later, basically like kind of going like, sorry, Detective Isom, like I was wrong. Like she did correct it. But he does have heart problems, y'all. That's definitely come out. I can't remember if it came out in court, but yeah, I mean, he's had like health issues, which a lot of cops, I mean, it's very stressful job.
And then your McDonald's was that.
I think I got gas.
Too.
Yeah.
And this was on the 18th also.
Yeah, that's the same stop that you
That's where you said you went.
Yeah.
I appreciate you giving me this. It kind of helps give you a timeline.
Yeah, no
to
problem.
Exclude you for anything.
I understand.
I think some of the reason they were looking at you is because some of the comments that she made about you in the previous interview
that I hate Danny and stuff like that.
Well, or that you were a stalker.
Yeah, see, that's
stuff like that.
That's why I am a little concerned about her, and I never thought I would get here. A month ago, I wouldn't have said any of this. But since that fight and I found out this web of deceit that she had set up, I just don't know what she's capable of. It's really, really strange. That's what I was worried about. She also asked if I was going to be here. Isn't that a little weird? Could just be conversation, but that's the last thing she ever said.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know what's going to happen, it's no big thing. But at hindsight, looking back at it, it does seem peculiar.
Because she's done with me at that point.
Right.
So.
I mean, it could have been as innocent as idle conversation. Who knows?
Hey, God, I hope.
I mean, we're going down every rabbit hole here, and we're still in the preliminary stages of this whole thing.
Was Daniel Sack referred to as her boyfriend in that interview? Was that?
I didn't interview, so I don't know.
Oh, Jeff. It's so sad. I mean, you guys, I don't want to call it pathetic, but you guys, Jeff is kind of like, for his age, he's kind of pathetic. He's asking about who Wendy was referring to as her boyfriend. in the interview. Ugh. Okay, I'll move on. Sorry. Pathetic in the relationship sense, okay, guys? Because there's a lot of professionals out there that have it going on, but then their personal life's a little where.
I know he was mentioned because I talked to Craig, the guy you met.
Yeah.
And he said that if you were that we were kind of just roundtabling. It was like if you were going to be mad at anybody, it may have been this guy.
Yeah, no, I was.
The Daniel guy.
That's why I left the coffee shop.
Well, Daniel Sack.
Yeah. Well, actually, I should have been mad with my Daniel Sack was seeing several women. Wendy was one of his, partners or whatever. He knew about me. I didn't know about him.
Right.
So he didn't do anything really. I mean, he's just playing the field.
Yeah.
But that's where the sociopathic thoughts come from. This is not a woman that cheats on you. This is a woman I think who has 2 boyfriends and is juggling that. And I'm at home with the kids every night while she's off screwing him during the day. She's letting me mop her kitchen floors for her. I mean, this woman had me doing things you wouldn't believe. I mean,
Yes, Allison. Yeah, that's what he just asked Hale. He said, was Wendy referring to Daniel Sack as her boyfriend during the interview? And I am about to rewind this part. Just the last 5 seconds. I don't know if you guys just caught up with or caught what he just said. You guys, he was mopping her floors. It's like, I've never had I've been with my husband for 27 years, but I've never had anyone but me mop my floors unless it's a relative or someone who's visiting. They were cleaning. I don't know. But having a boyfriend who's mopping your floors, oh, Jeffrey.
night while she's off screwing him during the day.
So he also says that he's with the kids at night. Yes, this is also that whole first right of refusal. So Wendy is going out on dates or out with other people in the evening, and he's home with the boys at her house.
Woman, I think, who has 2 boyfriends and is juggling that. And I'm at home with the kids every night while she's off screwing him during the day. She's letting me mop her kitchen floors for her. I mean, this woman had me doing things you wouldn't believe. I mean,
this woman had me doing things you wouldn't believe. Oh.
I can honestly say, how you get sick, your girlfriend brings you chicken soup. That woman never did a thing for me. And I was basically her personal assistant for 6 months. So when you start thinking about.
So he just complained that she never brought him chicken soup. I wonder how many times he was sick in the 9 months they were dating. Just a side note. Sorry.
About a scenario where someone gets compelled.
Oh.
To do something or convinced or help her out or something, just as a thought experiment. I would have stepped in front of a truck for this woman. Mm-hmm. I'm a mature 42-year-old guy who's dated a lot of women. I just got caught into the spell. So that combined with just I think that's kind of unusual when you have 2 boyfriends. I think that takes a certain lack of conscience. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's how easily she did that. Mm-hmm. Just makes me wonder.
So when he's talking about her having 2 boyfriends, he's referring to the time that she was also dating Daniel Sack, which was months before this. So that's interesting. He did say that has a lack of conscience to be able to do that. Oh.
She's not involved at all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think she is, but I mean, time will tell.
I don't think she'd be directly involved, but as an accessory at this point, I gotta tell you, that's in my head. So I just wanted you to know that. I don't know. You know a lot more data than I do.
Sure, yeah. Well, if you don't have anything else.
Nope, that's it.
I appreciate you coming in. And if you want to go ahead and send me that email, if you still got it.
Yeah, I'll find that email.
And then, like I said, you got my email, you got my phone number. Anything else arises, let me know. If you do have subsequent contact with her,
Yeah,
and you guys have a conversation that you think is of note,
I'll let you know.
yeah,
Well,
let me know.
I think we're probably done. If you need anything from me, let me know, but that's all I had.
Okay.
All right.
I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you, Mr. Gator.
All right, I'll walk you out.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna pause it there, you guys, because okay, we're about to hear some stuff that happens in the background. I don't know how loud this stuff's gonna go up, or like how loud you'll be able to hear it. Um, I ran it through. This is so funny. I ran it through our karaoke speaker because that was like the only thing I knew how to like use. I mean, I did listen to stuff like headphones on my personal computer, but there's some interesting things that are about to happen. So right now they've left the room, but it's still recording. I don't know exactly where the investigations office is or where this particular room is at TPD, but I'm pretty sure it's on the first floor. So Hale is basically walking Jeff out to like the lobby, and Jeff's gonna, leave TPD and go get in his car. And then Hale's about to come. He's not coming back in the room, but they're in a hallway outside. There's also a copier that you'll hear chuk 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 chuk. You'll hear the copier noise every once in a while too. So the next 2 minutes are interesting. Okay, let's get going. So they just left the room. So he's taking the time. He's taking them to the lobby. And then Jeff's leaving TPD. And then Hale is going to come back in and he's going to be having a conversation with someone in the background. I hope you guys can hear it. Okay, right there was a copy machine. It just went. Okay, they say something like, "We're not going to find something." Oof, I'm gonna need to get a sound guy, or a sound person. Sorry, sound guy. I'm sure a girl could do it as well. But they're talking, but you can't. It's really muffled, so I can't really hear what they're saying. I do hear like credit card. It's interesting, but there's gonna be something clear in a second. Hold on. So I think that was Hale who just said that, but they said something, and then they're telling the other person, and then I said, "What are you doing here?" Because when he entered the building, he was acting really weird. Okay, I'm gonna rewind it. But yeah, they're talking about Jeff. He didn't say really. He said when he entered the building, he was acting weird. But that's it. Sorry. Okay. I don't know how to take this off the screen. Oh. Okay. Okay. I don't know how to move that. I guess I could do this. Sorry. Oh, lol. Oh, okay. Sorry. You guys, I'm just learning, okay? I'm very computer challenged. When stuff doesn't look the way it looked, the last time I looked at something, I get very get very nervous about it. So, what do you guys think? I mean, I feel like there was a lot of psychobabble going on, which we can appreciate that. And what I really like about being able to see these videos, what I probably should have said in the beginning is I know it's really easy for people. It does kind of frustrate me to hear people talk really bad about detectives because we on the outside, especially in this community and being able to see these videos, we have the privilege to be able to watch them over and over and over and then critique whatever's happening. But remember when this is happening real time for Detective Hale and Jeffrey. And that's what we're actually watching. We're actually watching something that's happening at a particular time. Because I do get frustrated with folks when they say really negative stuff about Craig Isom. Because the bottom line is that Craig Isom kept her talking for 5 hours and 9 minutes. And he did get a ton of information. Sometimes you get, is it more flies with honey than with vinegar? He was very nice to her. And it's easy for us outsiders to, take something that everyone's watched and dissected and to say, negative stuff about Detective Isom. But thank you, Patricia Burns. That makes me feel better that rocket scientists are computer challenged. I was telling one of my kids, I have littles, but I was telling one of my kids, I think I was in second grade when it was either second, third, or fourth. This would have been back in the 80s when my school media center library got the first computer for the school. That was going to be shared by all of the students. We got one computer. Yeah, right, Jibs. He cannot. He cannot slap her around. But apparently, I know it wasn't in this video. I know it's in the other one. I'm not really familiar with, not too familiar with True Crime Metrics. I know that he played the, I think the 2-hour one. I do have that March interview as well. I'm not going to pull it up or anything. I did upload it onto my channel yesterday. I took me a while to figure out how to upload stuff, but I did do that yesterday. And when Jib says like he can't slap her around, talking about Isom can't slap Wendy around. Well, apparently she had a lot of dudes slapping her around on the behind, according to the to the March 2015 interview. Like, you guys, Jeff kept going back to her or staying with her when he's seeing another man's handprint welt on Wendy's buttocks. Oh. Yes, correct. My father's alibi. It's actually a really good technique. I mean, I would have people tell me stuff all the time by like I'd act a little bit like an airhead, like I didn't really understand, and then they would, they would clarify and explain to me how it went down. Because I'd be like, wait, she hit you? No, I said you hit me. So what do you guys think of that? Okay, so we have Jeffrey mopping her floors. Ugh. He's watching the kids in the evenings while she's out with, well, he says other men. I'm assuming he's, now he's thinking it was other men, but she was probably telling him girls' night or something. I don't know. And he was like staying at her house a lot. Yeah, right, Jibs. Beware of police action playing. All right. Well, so it looks like I've been on. I don't know how long. I think it looks like I've been on for about an hour and 15 minutes or so. I hope you all enjoyed it. What do you want to watch more of? My Father's Alibi. I didn't step on your toes. Were you gonna go live tonight? You hadn't gone live, so I figured, oh well, maybe. What do you want to watch more of? Do you want to watch some of the 2-hour one? Of course, I got to figure out how to put that one up. I might not know how. Okay, I'm going to click stop. Oh, I'm going to click stop sharing. Why did that go away? Okay, it might take me a second. I'm going to let's go. I don't need to go. I actually am, because it's been pouring rain here all day. I am sans family, which is like never happens, for a couple days. Okay, hang on. I'm going to try to pull up the other one. Let me see if I can do this. Because if I already forgot how I pulled that one video into StreamYard. Lord. Now let me do that. Is it going to, okay. Oh. Okay, present. Okay, hang on. Share screen. Okay. Oh. Oh, I think I might have figured it out, Allison. Hold on. Thank you guys so much for being patient. Oh. Okay, I don't know if we want to watch this whole thing. I'm trying to think, and I do have, I have my golden retrievers like scratching at the back door. He rolled in puddles twice today, and I had to mop my floor twice after. I hope he hasn't been rolling in puddles, but if he has, it's like, I mean, I won't be mopping against my, ugh. Okay, let me see. Wait, hang on. All right, I'm gonna hide that. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm kind of talking to myself too. Let's hear what he's talking about.
I said, you hate it here. I'm offering to take you away. Why wouldn't you? It's just really strange at the time. I remember saying to my friend.
Okay, I started it at
People
22 minutes.
She
I don't
wants to
really want
stay
to.
in Tallahassee. Like, she leaves town. Sure, you know, every chance she gets, she leaves town. Why would she want to stay? I said, I don't know. I have no idea. I finally managed to convince her to do a trip to St. Augustine, but we had to schedule it so that we were back basically by the time of the shooting. So that was just strange. It was peculiar at the time. When we scheduled that trip to St. Augustine, I was sitting her, she has her calendar open. You have to schedule everything with her. That's just how she was. There was just, at the time, I can remember sitting in her office trying to schedule this, and there's this weirdness about that weekend. We're scheduling other things, no problem. But that weekend, she just was intent on. That day meant something to me before Danny was shot. Like, there's something weird about that week. I don't know what it is, but there's something weird about that week. If we keep going through June, other things I noticed in June that were really crazy.
Let me back up a second so I get this right.
Yeah.
July 11th through 19th, you're supposed to go to California.
Yeah.
Leave on the 11th, come back on the 19th.
I can look it up for you. It might be 12th to 19th, but it was the week that Danny was shot. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when is she saying, I can't do it? What date? What date are we talking about when she's telling you I can't do it?
Early June. I can pull up the exact
Early
date.
June.
Early June. Yeah.
So you're supposed to go to California with her, just you two.
We have plane tickets purchased. And she sat me down. I think it was June 5th or 7th. I will find out for you if you would like.
Yeah.
And she just said,
Okay, I apologize. I actually was just saying hello to to B Rabbit. Hi, B Rabbit. And I was catching B Rabbit up to let them know that we just watched the July 23rd, 2014 interview with Jeffrey Lacasse. It was just under 32 minutes long, or the video is. And now I've pulled up the March 6, 2015 video of Jeff. Do you guys want me to go back to the beginning of this video? Do you want me to play it from the beginning? I'm definitely not going to be doing what Metrics did. I'm not too familiar with his channel. I have only heard him do a couple of things, but I don't really watch his channel. So I didn't know. Should I bring it back to the beginning? Or what do you guys want me to do? And I have not taken any notes on these. Like, I have not taken any notes on this one yet. So the time stamps. Jeffrey talks so fast, I can't really speed up the video, even at 1.25. Sound like a crackhead. I know what I want to do. You guys, can I? Okay. I don't know if anyone has seen this or not. I'm assuming some people have, but maybe you have not. But this is full on a lot of info in this video. We learned several things. We learned that Wendy was taking Lexapro, which is for I think it's for depression and anxiety. And she kind of stops taking her meds, and tells him right after she gets back, the week, maybe the day before the yoga or something, tells him that she's completely off her meds. We learned that Wendy is he's been catching Wendy with other dudes their entire relationship, pretty much. At the end of this video, he gives Isom a list of all the guys that Wendy has been with while he's been with Wendy, which is interesting. But okay, so I don't want to be mean or anything, but you got Jeffrey starts popping his own pills in this video. Now, okay, it could be for sciatica. I don't really know what's happening. But in the end, he goes into this bag of his whenever the detectives are not in the room, and you can hear a pill container. I don't know if it's Tic Tac. Maybe it's Tic Tacs. Maybe he's been chewing on that gum really, really hard this entire time. Chomping on it. I don't think he's put in a new piece. Maybe it's just not tasting good anymore. Maybe he's actually popping a Tic Tac to freshen up his gum. I don't know. I want to go right here. Okay, yeah, I'm not. Hang on. Okay. Okay, he's taking. Okay, I'm not bad mouthing him. Okay, I'm only just critiquing this. I don't necessarily want to critique the entire video. Of course not tonight, because I probably wouldn't make it for another. I can't pull an all-nighter. Allison, you're champion. You're always you guys have been pulling long streams on your channel, which I love to be a part of when I can. But so right now at 2 hours and 10 minutes into this 2 hour and 27-minute interview or video of the interview, Jeff's going for some medications. So he only took half of it. It might be a Xanax. Maybe he's prescribed Xanax and he just took a half of it. He just bit whatever it was. Yeah, it was a RX bottle, and then he put a little piece of the pill in his mouth, and then he bit half. And because I used to do child abuse investigation, I'm pretty familiar with like the different dosages and stuff, especially like with, medications that people will abuse or frequent abuse. And so, that's why I have like such a strong feeling about, or such a strong opinion about the fact that Katie McBanawa, I feel like she doesn't really have a lot of brain cells left. I think that she was like Charlie and Harvey were prescribing her Xanax. Like we learned that from the wiretaps. She actually loses her mind one time on the wiretaps when she's on hold at the pharmacy for her Xanax. They're talking about taking bars of Xanax. So that could be anywhere from a full milligram up to 4 milligrams in one pill. But because he had, let's just say he's taken Xanax right there, because he had like a little tiny piece and he looked like he was biting it. If he is using Xanax, those are probably the footballs, which I believe are considered 0.5. And if he took a half, he probably just had 0.25 milligrams of Xanax. Let's just say it's, but I'm just saying.
Obviously, if there's something else, we can meet again.
I got one other quick thing for you, actually.
Absolutely.
When he was advancing her withdrawal schedule from the antidepressants much more rapidly than was safe.
Yes, Allison, I see that you said a lot of Xanax pills have striations. Yeah. Like many years ago, I was diagnosed with situational anxiety, and I got prescribed like 0.25 milligrams, and even that you could still half it. And I would usually, if I had to like testify or go to deposition or something to that effect that was super, super stressful on me, I would take a half. So like I guess it would be a point. Oh, would it be 0.0125 or 0.125 of a benzodiazepine in order to just make it through? Because some of these county courthouses are very interesting. Like I've been like chased through the state attorney's office in one of the smaller counties by a client many years ago. Very interesting.
And she stopped. She told me this after the fact. She dropped off the med completely on July 14th.
Oh, is that what it is, Patricia? Do you think he's taken Tic Tacs? I did see a RX bottle.
We determined that's the date that the conversation happened about Charlie and the 15,000. But she doesn't tell you till later on.
I just said, hey, how are the meds? And she goes, oh, I stopped those. I think the first day I was back, which was Monday, July 14th.
So this is when Jeffrey's telling Isom that Wendy went totally off her medications, which earlier in the video he tells us that it's Lexapro. So
That was my first day off. So she's off of them completely on that day.
Okay, so.
Which, by the way, people have impulse control problems at that point, so that might be why she said that. I mean, it's.
But she's telling you this when?
In August sometime.
Okay. She just stopped cold turkey?
I don't know. I just know that supposed to go down 10% a week. She wasn't doing that.
Detective Isom with the country music ringtone.
Okay. Okay.
If I think of anything, I'll get back in. I actually had two quick questions for you, if you don't mind.
Yep.
this is completely selfish, but I'm concerned about me in this situation. I'm wondering how long it is, in your opinion, before the media, before journalists are poking around looking at this case. And I'm worried about my potential exposure as a professor and as a person.
This is an open case. I don't, they can ask all they want to. They're not getting anything.
That's for the foreseeable.
I mean, I may call you. I mean, at some day you may be called as some type of witness.
I would do it in a second. Yeah.
Okay, I want to make sure that we're upfront about this. I mean, let's say it goes from here to an arrest to a prosecution.
I'm there.
And for some reason, your testimony is needed.
I would say.
Okay, it is a prescription pill bottle. I mean, if he's prescribed something, he could take it. So, okay. So I don't know if you guys can tell. Oh, see, this is what I'm into. I don't know if you guys can tell when he's shaking it. You can hear that there are different sized pills in the bottle. Has a prescription bottle, but he's got different stuff in there. You can hear something heavy, and then you can hear like the little, it's definitely different clinky, tappy noises when he's shaking it. See, so he was fishing or getting whatever he's getting out. He took out what he wanted, had something else in his hand, tossed it back in. That's heavier than this little tiny thing that he's about to put in his mouth and bite. Yeah. Interesting. But this isn't the only time that he goes into that pill bottle. Hang on, let me find it. It might be before this. Hold on, I gotta see, because I know he does it twice.
She's 212-6974.
I'm sorry, I'll stop touching that. I'm gonna look at it another way.
212-6974.
That's her cell phone.
Okay. Now she's the one that you said went to South Florida, but you also said it was basically gave you some information about what she talked to.
Wendy was talking through her for a long time after the crime. So
Okay.
she's exchanged many texts with Fran, guided her through the whole divorce. Fran knew Danny. Fran was very skeptical of me when I first started telling her these sorts of things.
Oh, yeah.
At this point, because we're very close, they're like family. At this point, she's really worried that I'm onto something here. We all are,
So Francine.
It's Fran.
Okay, Fran.
Good morning.
Would be is basically someone that is close to Wendy, also close to you.
Yes.
That you and Fran have confided in each other about the concern over what involvement Wendy.
Yeah. It's not a public conversation you want to have. So we've talked very in an unguarded way about this stuff, very frankly. I haven't told her some things. I've never told her that she said Charlie looked into having her killed. I mean, there's some things I just kept off the table.
Right.
But she knows my concerns, and she came back from those trips very disturbed by what
in the household.
Yeah, just intuition, but yeah.
She's not reached out to us.
I don't know why not.
It's the first time. I think you referred to Tommy before.
Yeah.
I remember that, but this Francine is not.
You could call her. I don't know.
Well, I got to be careful because.
You want me to get her to get? Well, she just talked to me yesterday because she was on Facebook.
Okay, I found it.
Message from Donna Adelson. She had a picture on her Facebook page of Danny and Wendy and a bunch of people at the table for some Jewish holiday 7 years ago. And Donna said, could you please take this picture down? It makes me sad.
He's talking about a friend. I'd never heard the name Francine before, but he's talking about this lady named Fran. And I guess Donna is telling Fran to take down a picture from several years prior. Okay, y'all, I did find it. So we were just watching him with the pills, right? At hang on. Okay, at 2:10ish, he's doing some pills, but look at 1:40. I'm just gonna go back. I don't want to be hopping around. I'm sorry, you guys. I I was organized for the first part, but okay. So Craig Isom leaves the room at 1:40. I'm gonna play this. Craig Isom leaves the room here.
I'm good, thank you.
And he's gonna go into the bag. So interesting. I don't know what that little thing was. Yeah. That's true, Allison. And apparently, he needed therapy. He said that on the 23rd, they'd only been dating 9 months on, July of 2014, and that he had already spent $2,000 on therapy. And he's under Capital Health Plan. Okay, he is an employee at FSU. Most of those Capital Health Plan, those sessions are between $20 to $40 for copay. So is that how many sessions he's been? Let's just say it's 40, but no, a decade ago it was only $20 for a copay. Because most Florida State, he definitely had Capital Health Plan for Florida State employee. Let me get out my calculator. We'll say 40, even though I believe it's $20 per session copay. So it means he's like, my father's alibi. No, it would have been a $20 copay through Capital Health Plan, because there were so many like counselors, especially then, and even 20 years ago, there were a lot of like counselors where like you went and could talk. Now a lot of them are in this area. There's very few just psychologists. Most of them are psychiatrists, and they just kind of prescribe meds now. However, Florida State University is a part of the Florida State, state employee system. And if you live in the Tallahassee area, almost all of the providers are Capital Health Plan. or a majority of the providers are capital health plans. So that's what he would have been. Definitely who he would have had. It's the cheapest. It's, yeah, like, yeah. So, and yeah, I just said 40 because I don't know, depending upon who his counselor was. I mean, we used to send people in the community that did have capital health plan if they needed counseling. It would be anywhere between 20 and 40. And I do remember some being 40, but a lot of them were just 20. And usually that was for, a half hour, maybe it's half
Still
hour
trying to get
20,
that photograph.
full
I
hour
don't know if it's
40.
still gonna be on his Facebook page or not. I just want to see if, I just want to confirm this is individual.
I think I recognize it if I saw it, at least it was the same photograph I saw.
Yeah.
Photograph I recall was 4 guys like this.
Okay. Okay. All right, I got the men that you're talking about.
Yeah, I agree, Allison. I mean, yeah, he was seeing a counselor. I don't really understand that. I don't know. I feel like, but I can't really speak to a 40-year-old man or, or for a 40-year-old man who is dating someone like Wendy. I mean, I met my husband when, I was 21 years old. So, I mean, I dated people before him, of course, but, never anything too serious. So, but I did have friends in college that were, and even, after college, like they would be going to like couples counseling, and not just like couples counseling, at the church or whatever, like full on couples counseling when they don't even dating like a couple of months. And I mean, and maybe this is just me, but when I was younger and I would hear that, I was like, oh, you already have to be in counseling? Like what? Like I don't think that that's good. I just say, and I wasn't being judgy. I was just kind of saying, well, you've only known this person for a small amount of time and you're already having to go seek, third party advice. Oh, really? How would you have helped him, Jibs? Just curious. Okay.
She made, well, first of all, does she still have the same phone number?
She switched her phone 3 or 4 days after the shitting because she thought you guys had bugged it.
Okay. All right, do you have the new number?
I don't. I think she has the same number. She has a different phone. She just
Oh,
wants
different
Which is
handset?
silly because you don't need to put a bug on a phone physically.
Right.
I mean, it's funny.
Why would she be concerned about people bugging her phone, or the police bugging her phone, I guess is what she's specifically concerned about?
She's not concerned about that. She told me that.
Did you ask why?
No, I knew I immediately thought she did this, and so she told me 50 times, Jeff, I had nothing to do with this. And I always just let it be silent. Sorry. I just let it be silent because I didn't want to go there. I didn't want to play my hand. I never said anything to her. I just wanted to listen. I was hoping she might give me something interesting and I would come tell you guys. But she's erratic enough. I thought she might say something stupid. She must have said 50 times, I had nothing to do with this. And you saw her statement in the press. She's worried for the safety of her and her children. No one's suggesting a serial killer looking for Jewish lawyers, I mean,
Well, that's very eloquent, Jibs. Oh, Patricia. Okay, I did just move that. Patricia, I want to say something real quick. I believe that you're in the UK. But I really thought it was cute earlier when you said, I think when you said like you couldn't get flushed by Jeff. I forgot the term that you used, but it's cute. I like it when I hear other countries like little sayings. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, like when you say slag instead of slut. And I think you said like get a flush, but I think that meant like, ooh, cutie, have like the little feelings.
This was pretty targeted, so.
Yeah, you think, she's concerned for her children's safety.
Wendy plays the victim so well. To me, it looked like classic Wendy. Everybody else felt bad for her. I thought, holy crap, she did this. She plays the victim instantly. She's great at it.
You said something a minute ago, and I didn't want to interrupt you,
Yeah.
but I know it was about something about Charlie getting shot.
Charlie getting shot.
Yeah, I thought she said something about. I thought you were telling me that Wendy was up here or had said something about Charlie getting shot or Charlie getting killed or something like that. She referred to that.
Danny or Charlie?
I'm sorry, Danny. I'm sorry. I'm totally confusing you.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Oh,
Yeah, a flush on. I have never heard a flush on. I have heard a wide on before, but I actually thought that was kind of dirty. But any type of love terms that I know in regards to the UK or Australia, it would have been from the trashy reality show Love Island.
when she was up here, this is for awkward. My best friend sat next to her at a bat mitzvah. He refers to her, just so you know what it's like in the community, he calls her the murderer in common conversation. He's convinced. I don't know how, I mean, a lot of people, and that's not from my take on it, that's his take on it.
Right.
He knows I could be crazed. He had to sit next to her at a bat mitzvah for 4 hours. She's cracking jokes about Danny getting his head blown off.
Head blown off.
Yes, cracking.
Okay, how crazy is this part? Oh. So apparently, Wendy returned to Tallahassee for someone's child's bar mitzvah. Jeffrey's going to say who it is in a couple minutes, but let's pay close attention to what's going on here, to what he's talking about. And this is information coming from a mutual friend between
He knows I
Jeffrey
could be crazed.
and Wendy.
He had to sit next to her at a bat mitzvah for 4 hours. She's cracking jokes about Danny getting his head blown off.
Head blown off.
Yes, cracking. And I can't remember the exact joke, but that was how he put it, at least. And he said he looked at her and said, Wendy, that's totally inappropriate.
Where was this at?
So it was the Andrew Epstein's daughter's bar mitzvah.
Okay.
Which was 3 weekends ago. She was here for 4 days. And in the morning when she was here, it was a church ceremony in the morning, then a party at night. In the morning one, she sobbed through the whole thing. And whenever anybody asked her, like, what's going on? She didn't say I'm sad. She said, I'm nervous. I'm anxious. I've seen a lot of grief. I'm a social worker. That's really an atypical reaction. It's real strange. And then the evening, she was pretty much herself, but she was cracking jokes. She told some of my friends that she's changing their names to Adelson she still hates Danny more than you would ever think. And no one has ever heard her say one sympathetic thing about Danny and Markel to this day. And it's just weird. Why would she be hanging on to anger? I mean, it's so, I can only think of one reason: to make the world make sense. But yeah, she was cracking jokes, which sometimes people deal with pain in that way. I get that. But I mean,
How'd she say it? How did he tell you? She said it.
he might have sent me a, oh, here's what she said. There was one just general joke, but I have the other text. He said, my favorite quote from tonight, I overheard Wendy saying, at least it didn't happen to Jeff or the kids or somebody I actually cared about.
Okay.
So that was the vibe. You know, they split this town into two piles, you know, I mean, it was a nasty thing. But people that aren't me, so that was the vibe. You know, they split this town into two piles, you know, I mean, it was a nasty thing. But people that aren't me, because I'm careful, I haven't told anybody the story like I've told it to you. I've told people I'm suspicious. That's about all I've said. They find her behavior erratic, bizarre, scary, and people who are very close friends to her are coming to the point where they're like, Jeff, I'm having people stopping in my office saying, Jeff, is there any chance? It's just not the Adelsons in Miami. Is there any chance they had something to do with this? That's the weirdest family. The vibe. You walk in the room and something's strange. I know it's all subjective.
Okay, I promise I'm gonna get better at this because I was definitely muted. I just rewound that part and I don't even think we're there yet. But so Jeffrey's actually about to walk back the comment that he just said about Wendy making jokes about Dan's head getting blown off. He's about to actually change the story. I wish and I know I hate to do this because I don't want to critique Detective Isom. I wish he would have gotten a little bit more clarification after Jeffrey says this.
For that, because I feel like I'm a crazy person for the last 6 months. I've been waiting for you guys to arrest some vagary, you know? I mean, and those names I give you, I mean, that's so you have all the data I have. Wendy with Charlie. I don't know who pulls the trigger, but there's a very strange relationship between those two.
So I'm gonna read this one. True Crime Wifey. This is from Jibs. This is what I find bizarre about Wendy. How is she charismatic and then socially awkward at the same time? Oh, I feel like okay, so and I hate using this term, but I think it's been established that she lacks a lot of empathy. I don't know. Of course, I'm not capable of diagnosing her or anything, but I would say that she definitely has something wrong with her, some sort of personality disorder. But I don't necessarily believe that people need to have personality disorders to just be bad people. Like she might just be bad, but she is very self-centered. But I also think that she can fit, like kind of like a chameleon in a sense, fit into certain scenes. I mean, she is highly educated. She is refined in her education, her upbringing, you know, where her parents probably had, dinner on the weekends growing up, you know, like there's a difference between, you know, your local McDonald's or your local, you know, crab shack, and then also the Adelsons probably at some point in time were dining at, 4 and 5-star restaurants on a regular basis. So I think that Wendy presents in one way, but then when she's dissected, then you see that she is a hot mess. And Allison, thank you so much for the compliment. That warms my heart. Thank you.
I acknowledge this might all sound real crazy to you, Mr. Garrett.
I'm not, no.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested in this.
Yeah,
I want to make sure that I understand it
yeah,
completely and thoroughly.
yeah.
And I can see that it's been weighing on you heavily.
Well, it has, because it sounds crazy to people, obviously. Although I've told a couple people the whole story, like I told it to you start to finish, and no one else has said I'm crazy. My therapist said,
Wendy can't even act innocent. That's what I find very bizarre. I love the word bizarre, but yeah, that's what I find super crazy about this entire case. Like, she couldn't even act innocent, like after the first 24, 48 hours. She was literally in a vehicle leaving.
one thing I forgot to tell you. I had to go get a damn therapist. It was so crazy. So I try to manage her. I try to get some advice on relationships. And in April of 2014, he tells me, look, he's real blunt. I gotta be honest with you. Two possibilities. One is she's just getting over a divorce and drinking too much, and she'll settle down over time, maybe live happily ever after. Second option, she sounds an awful lot like a sociopath to me. That's an objective person.
Right.
And I said, sociopath. I said, yeah, high functioning, but she doesn't seem to have a conscience. And I said, oh, Jesus, what I got myself into, because I was in love with her and I wasn't going to leave at that point. But that's the kind of feedback I've got when I tell people when she's actually like. I prefer that you guys catch somebody else, obviously.
Right. When's the last time you talked to her or had any conversation?
I could find it for you. It would have been in around August 20th.
Oh, that long ago.
Yeah. She cut off all contact because I didn't tell her I was dating. It was just bizarre. That was the time, it was about the time of commencement, summer semester commencement. That was another thing as far as narcissism and a crazy person. You know what Wendy was mostly upset about? She told me this. The fact that she had to cancel her commencement speech because Danny was shot. Her attorney said it's a bad idea to get yourself in front of the media like that. Inside Edition will show up. You can't do it. She was devastated. It's bizarre.
Yes, Patricia Burns. They are describing a sociopath. And I kind of think that she's in the same boat as Meghan Markle, in my opinion. It looks like she has to watch others in order to figure out how to behave. And what I mean by that is just her human trafficking talks. And when she's like presented herself in front of those like board meetings, was it Murder by Maestro that did a video and was showing her speaking and at something, a little spiel that she was giving up there, and then like you actually see people getting up and leaving. I feel like that might be one of his videos. But I'm telling you, if I was in a human trafficking training and she started with that word salad, hodgepodge taglines that's on posters for awareness, I'm be like, oh no, I'm outie.
I went back and looked. Apparently you all have somebody, McPherson.
Jay McPherson.
Yeah. What's the relationship she has something to do with Wendy?
She was,
Well, and just to let everybody know, most of my education in regards to narcissism is from the YouTuber HG Tutor. If you've never checked him out, but he explains things really, really well. He's actually a narcissist himself. He's very interesting. But he's been doing Meghan Markle stuff for several years now.
they claim that she was in the room with Wendy in the 9 hours you guys interviewed Wendy.
Oh, she came up here. She was not in the room with her.
Wendy told me she was in the room.
Well, okay, let me correct that.
That sounded weird to me.
She came in the room, I think it was over the children. The children had to be picked up,
Gotcha.
and there was two ladies that were up here, and I can't remember if that was McPherson or
No,
not.
Oh, Allison, you crack me up. So Allison says you can tell if someone is being human trafficked if they are stuck at home mopping the floor for their girlfriend while she's out with other guys. I needed that. Thank you.
Jane was with her that day, and coincidentally, Jane's one of my doctoral students in our program. So she's getting her PhD in social work. I teach in social work, so I know her professionally.
Right.
Jane is the one I talked to for about 3 hours, maybe 2 weeks after the crime. They told me that Wendy and her circle of friends thought I did this.
Jane told you that.
Jane told me that. She said you had to be there if you were, and she basically made it sound like if you, and she's a confidant of Wendy. See, Wendy has told many people that I stalked her, that I falsely accused her of cheating on me, that I'm this very mean person, all this kind of stuff. And she has friends that are professors in other departments. She slandered me pretty bad. So I just haven't responded to any of that. But I go to conferences and get weird looks from people. Anyway, Jane is the one that I was so puzzled because I'm a pretty gentle guy. I was always a really good father to those kids, essentially. I didn't understand anybody could think that, and I don't believe that Wendy could have possibly believed, like, why in the world would I go shoot Danny? Did I want to choke the shit out of her? Yes.
Hey, I just want to let everybody know, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. I will get better at this. I'm sure that there is some way in StreamYard to actually pause this video without me having to go back and forth between StreamYard and YouTube. But I'm scared to touch anything in the StreamYard, like in the broadcast, because I don't really want to mess up anything. Or lose you all completely. But I will get better at this, and I will learn how to be better at pulling up everyone's comments, or a lot of the I might not ever be able to pull up everyone or like all of the comments, but I am reading them. I just am not pulling them up. So I just want to let you guys know that. Okay.
But I would never touch a woman, and I've been in a
So you said you just got through saying what I want to choke the shit out of her.
Yeah, her, not Danny.
Right.
There was a few times where I took a time out. I teach anger management classes.
Right.
I might raise my voice to her that one time because you couldn't. She would collapse.
Okay.
But Jane knows Wendy as well as anybody. Jane doesn't think any of this. Wendy's pretty good at fooling people. Although some of this information is publicly available, I should add. Like, she's a Truman scholar. If you go on the web and look at her statement, she says, "I hate Tallahassee. You're a bunch of country bumpkins." That's basically what she says. You know?
Although I think she told a lot of the locals
What they
that
wanted
she
to.
was satisfied, she wanted to make the best of things, and that she actually.
No, that is what she said, but not when the door closed and it was just me and her in the house. That was, I got tired listening to it. I think it's a great place. I deliberately moved back here. I couldn't went anywhere. So.
But it wasn't for her, and she made that clear to you, is what you're saying.
On a daily basis. You couldn't pull up to the movie theater without hearing about how the movie theater in Miami is better.
Okay.
She was obsessed with it. Her and Danny thought they'd be here a semester. Got stuck here. So.
And then and all she'd been wanting to do is get back to South Florida. And she made that quite clear to you?
Like, I mean, it was kind of cold, actually. She basically told me, if it's between you and South Florida, I'm going to South Florida.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I heard that the FBI had maybe talked to her brothers. Oh, that's another thing. Their brother Rob in North New York. I don't think he had anything to do with this, but something very weird about this family. There's some emails between us where when he visits the house, he doesn't even talk.
Patricia Burns is saying Jeff looks like he's in free fall with this profound situation. I think that Jeff looks worse and worse every time he testifies. I'm not trying to be mean, but even Ryan Fitzpatrick, I believe it was when he was on Judy's channel after Charlie's trial, the one where like the one neighbor came over and started like yelling, like, give me the steroid. Like apparently it was like a neighbor like playing a joke on Ryan Fitzpatrick and like banging, but whatever. But Ryan Fitzpatrick talked about feeling sorry for Jeff Lacasse when he was at the courthouse, and he made a comment that Jeff Lacasse was so nervous he was literally running or I think he said literally he was running circles around the courthouse. If Jeff was running circles around the courthouse, he definitely would have been like that's like a really large block. So I don't know. Was he power walking, running, or was that just a term? But no, Jibs, not like a tweaker, but Ryan Fitzpatrick did make that comment. Said he was running circles around the courthouse. And that Fitzpatrick said that he felt very, very bad for Jeffrey Lacasse, because I think that Jeffrey just, I mean, it has to be absolutely nerve-wracking. This has been a part of your life for 10 years. Ugh, poor guy. I wonder how many other people that Wendy dated, whether it was before or afterwards, that she treats like this. Like, do you believe that all of her dudes are like super submissive? I don't know. And I'm not talking about bondage, right? I'm talking about like he really doesn't have a lot of oomph. Like, that's just my opinion. I wonder if like the other guys, because there's a lot of wealthy dudes, especially the ones that Jeff's found out about between July and March, and he gives Ice on the list here. I think it's interesting that a lot of them were like doctors. Like one of them's a gastrointestinal doctor, I think, over in South Florida, or their attorneys. So I'm wondering if does she treat any of them like this?
Talk to the parents. There's just some sick dynamics where Wendy at one point told me that dad was extremely violent. And I thought, well, this makes sense why you're so gun shy and, hair trigger. And then later I said, with your history of family violence, she said, I never said that. So there was a lot of inconsistencies in the line, but I don't think Charlie's been up here. If your experience and instincts, you were to talk to Charlie, I assure you, there's something off about that guy.
What about this?
So whew. So Allison says yes, apparently. Oh, I guess. Wow. Oh, I wonder if Jeff has gone back and re-looked at any of this stuff and then just really, like thought, oh my gosh. I think if I was Jeff and I was rewatching any of this stuff, I would be very afraid that I would lose self-respect for myself. Does that does that make sense? I'm not trying to be mean, but oh Jeff, this is pitiful. Maybe this is why Mentor Lawyer cut all of this out. I'm sorry. I'm just assuming, because I mean I did see these videos on Mentor Lawyers, but apparently, he decided to edit it a whole bunch of stuff. That's why all of his videos are zoomed in and you don't have a timestamp. You might have a date on them, but you don't have a timestamp. And he did that with the first video too, which is why I had requested it, but I wasn't going to get in an argument with the records keeper administrator at TPD. This is very small community and you're not going to make mad or cause any kind of thing. Plus I'm there in person when I go. I'm not going to ruffle any feathers over there because it's like yes, of course she has staff, but one lady is the one who pretty much determines what you're getting. I mean, she has people pull it, but she's the sign off. So no, I wasn't going to argue with her via email. I think I'll just send in another FOIA and maybe take a screenshot somewhere that actually Jeff is being interviewed by ISOM on 7/21 because they said that the video doesn't exist. So Allison, I have a question real quick. No, never mind. Never mind. I don't think I can actually figure out how to ask it. When you're in StreamYard, can you click on the stop screen icon and it pauses the video that you're using when you're sharing screen? It's a computer question. Okay, it's fine. I'll just keep doing it how I'm doing it. Okay, okay, that's okay. Well, I'm glad I never touched it then. Thanks.
FBI.
I heard through the grapevine that the FBI talked to Rob up in New York.
That's what Wendy told you?
No, I think that's what Jay McPherson told me.
Okay.
So, and I try not to believe everything I hear because misinformation is everywhere.
Well, if Jane McPherson heard it, she most likely got it from Wendy.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true.
But he's like an outside, he's not really a part of the core family.
They don't have a relationship, basically.
Okay.
And the impression is he's a guy who wants nothing to do with his family. There's something that happened in that house and he wants nothing to do with it.
Okay.
And I just think there's, that's the other theory, which sounds super crazy, but the people that have visited the house in Miami said to me, has anyone considered maybe the whole family's in on this? I mean, this is I said, people don't do that. I said, well, you go in that house, it's real strange in there. It's real secretive. It's real weird.
Have you met her parents?
I have.
Is there anything that you can tell me about them?
You know what autism is?
Autism?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The dad and the brother Rob have this reputation of being like that. They everyone in that family suffers from a
Wow. He's saying that Rob and Harvey have, I don't know, is he about to describe like Asperger's or something?
severe lack of empathy for other people. She learned that somewhere. You know, pillars of the community. You get on his website. I mean, years ago I went on it. He was polite to me, but dad's polite, mom's kind of rude, actually. I know that father has been speculated about. They hate Danny in a way. I have a wife. I've been through a divorce. I get life. I've never seen this kind of obsession. Like their hobby is hating Danny.
Mm.
It was like really strange. I mean, and I fell into this because Wendy could convince you of it, and maybe she convinced the parents. But they were going to put you said you looked at some emails, but not others. At one point, Wendy was going to get a restraining order against Danny, which in retrospect is bizarre because he was a good dad. But she had Gary, Gary is a lawyer that he's the one that offered Wendy the job so she could relocate in the summer of 2013. He runs a tort firm suing drug companies. He offered her $1 million job, and I wondered about him too. It's not sexual; it's more of a father-daughter thing, but they're close.
Gary,
I don't know his last name.
where does he work?
He's a lawyer. He works in Miami.
Okay.
He owns a tort firm, and their emails. I mean, she sent this document.
So they're talking about Gary Cohen here.
She had compiled every email, like between Danny and Wendy for like a year and a half. And the idea was to make this legal case that Danny is harassing.
I mean, you guys, I don't think that Wendy was ever going to take this guy seriously, no matter what. Like, I mean, this guy's, does she like him like this? Or does, okay. Okay, this is going to sound mean, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it. And I probably should give disclaimers at the beginning of my videos that a lot of, this is my opinion only. I'm not trying to be mean. But, when a woman is dating a man and this guy is such a floor mat, something that you can walk all over. Like, after a minute, that becomes very unattractive. But maybe she feeds off that. I'm not sure. It would actually make sense because that's how narcissists actually get their fuel. By watching, intimate personal source, like intimate partner source of fuel. That's what narcissists will have. And they actually fuel themselves by making their lover, boyfriend, spouse, whatever, basically like someone that they can walk all over. They get off on it. Excuse my term or phrase, but that's what they do. Yeah, simping can cause resentment and hatred in a narcissist. I don't know, my Allison, my father's alibi. I don't know if they find it attractive or just useful. I think they find it, well, okay, let's just say that Wendy is a narcissist. I'm thinking that she actually finds it both attractive and useful because it's humiliating him is basically giving her fuel. That's why I'm telling you, like, this is a lot like Meghan Markle. Like, oh, I mean, I don't feel sorry for Harry because he's a grown, Prince Harry because he's a grown man, but I'm just like, I mean, ugh. He still hasn't figured out that he ended up marrying his stalker. Okay, I'll keep playing the video.
Harassing her and stalking her. She always goes to this. She told me Danny was a stalker because he looked out the window one time and saw her walking down the street without the kids, and he goes, "Where are my kids?" I have right of first refusal. If you don't have the kids, I should have the kids. Wendy claimed that was stalking because he said that. So anyway, all these emails, and the idea was we're going to persuade some judge that Danny needs to be reined in. I read this document. At this point, I'm a little skeptical because she's screwing everybody else. I I said, this is an indictment of Wendy Adelson's character. You read this thing, you get the impression this woman is a total loon. You know, it was interesting because she thought, like, from her point of view, it showed what an asshole Danny was. If you were to read this, it's like, this person is crazy. So that was when I started to figure that out. But there's that different perception. At first, she seems really.
He's Jeffrey's so animated and talks with his hands. He probably has like ADD or ADHD, because I know I've never been diagnosed, but I'm pretty sure I have ADD. I don't really think I have the H part, but like your mind is always going. So like when you're trying to explain stuff, like you actually do talk with your hands a lot. Yeah, but I like this video much better than the first one, even though I probably haven't seen the entire first one. Interview, meaning interview, not video. The very first interview when Isom is with Jeffrey, and then in March, this, second time that Isom is with him. This one is Isom understands Jeffrey a lot more in this one than he did the first one. There's a lot less clarification because he might not be on the same page all the time with Jeffrey, but Detective Isom is at least in the same chapter.
Really together and then just loses her mind. So my worry is that she had something to do with this. And
yeah, Allison, I know I heard you say that before. Like I actually I didn't know if you had ADD or AD. I didn't know if you had been fully diagnosed, but I try to stay away from a lot of the information that tells people how people behave or how they act or what they do if they have ADHD or ADD. If like they're not medicated, because I think sometimes some of that information can actually cause a self-fulfilling prophecy. It might make, I mean, not for you, I'm just saying like for certain people who say like a couple of characteristics, like can't maintain eye contact, can't finish sentences or thought processes, like all of that list of stuff, how it manifests itself. I stay away from reading a lot of that because I feel like you might start noticing yourself doing it and then you're more conscious of it, or you might just start doing it because now you think that that's what you're supposed to do. And that's what I mean about the self-fulfilling prophecy. Sorry. Yeah, no, I'm a huge tangent person. That's why I'm all over the place the second half of this live stream. Oh, but yeah, see how like Isom gets Jeffrey a lot more than he did on July 21st of 2014. I think he thought, wow, this guy is woof. But definitely in March of 2015, Isom understands Jeffrey much better.
has no conscience. And it's hard for me to believe she could, you can't give a polygraph. I can't believe she'd pass a polygraph. I can't believe she would stand up to repeated questioning if you guys had any leverage. I understand that this was done in a.
Oh, by the way, Allison, yes, I have seen the Worldwide Privacy Tour, but I think they have a new one. Didn't they just didn't South Park just put out something ripping her as ever or something. I don't know. Yes, definitely a lot of benefits. You can multitask and do all kinds of things at the same time. When you have ADD or ADHD, you can do it. And I've never been diagnosed. Like I don't even want to know because I wouldn't take anything anyway. But I don't really even want to know. But when I was younger, I could be like 20 pages into a book and not remember anything past the first couple of pages because something happened in the book and then my mind went elsewhere. But I literally kept reading and turning. And I'm like, wait a second. Yeah, I used to do that a lot in college. Oh,
Smart way. It's I don't have any language, but my experience with her was over time, she just collapses. You know,
Okay. Well, I get I understand that, that you never heard Charlie say anything derogatory about Danny.
oh, are you kidding me? Yes. Yes.
Did you hear him say anything in a threatening manner?
No. Well, I myself said I like to kill Danny Markel. I told you guys that because Wendy told me he was sated. I don't want to make it up. In that hot tub, this is what this family talks about. In that hot tub, I don't remember. He definitely in that hot tub, half the conversation was about what an asshole Danny Markel is. He was very heated up about it. He's a very intense guy. It was a little different than when I would say it, Bandito's great. I was like, someone should kill that guy. I was so sick of his shit. Really, it was Wendy's shit. I was manipulated. The brother, they were married 9 years. They have 10 years worth of the bullshit to be upset about. And the rant and rave about how he handled the wedding.
How he handled the wedding.
Kosher versus not. Remember when he did that at the wedding? What a jerk. I mean, it's like their hobby. It's bizarre.
And I didn't have that written down. When was the hot tub conversation? That was right after the March 12th?
Yeah, it would have been like March 17th or 18th. Would have been the Sunday at the end of spring break last year. But if the question is, did he threaten Danny? No. If the question is, was he pathologically upset with Danny in a way I found disturbing and that put me off and it was different than, say, even Wendy or her mom? Yes. Incredibly intense about it. Incredibly intense. Charlie's so difficult to get along with, he doesn't have one dental office. He works at 5 dental offices. They can only handle him 1 day a week in each office.
Really?
Yeah. And he seems to know this and strategize it. He's figuring out how to make it work for him. But he was a special ed kid, I believe. It's very difficult to get along with.
I wonder if that's true, and I wonder what level of special ed. Was it something that's, maybe like a slow learning disability, or what? I wonder if Charlie was special ed. It does appear to me that Charlie and Jibs and I have talked about this. Like Charlie's kind of less than in regards to the sibling group. Wendy, Robert, and Charlie. He, whether it's true or not, he barely made it through dental school. Both Rob and Wendy left the nest. Charlie's never really lived far from Donna and Harvey. I mean, literally, he works, well, maybe he had to have that set up in order to be successful to get your dad to give you a dentist job or a periodontist job. But even when he was working in different offices, he was calling his mom frequently. They probably spoke on the phone at least once a day, if not more often. He would see his dad a couple of times a week whenever they were working in the same dental office. But then it seemed like he also would go to their home and have like dinner with them a few times a month at least. Like Charlie never, yeah, you're right, Patricia. He never cut that umbilical cord. He's always done things, in my opinion, especially, finding hitmen to please his mother and father. And I think Wendy married Dan because she saw what happened to Rob when he married Haritha. He was disowned. Wendy doesn't really want to work hard for money. See, that's another thing that her and Meghan Markle actually have in common.
And he is fiercely protective of Wendy. He had suggested seriously that they convert to Islam.
The whole family?
Just Wendy and the kids.
Islam.
Islam or Christianity, one or the other. Just to screw with Danny.
So they're not very devout in their.
No,
Jewish
they're
religion.
they're atheistic Jews.
Pardon?
They're atheistic Jews, Jews that don't really believe in God. They do it culturally, they eat the food. These people don't have ethics or morals. I mean, they don't.
Immediately after the homicide, you came back. I know I'm with that, and then you reached out to Wendy, or she contacted you.
10 days later, she texted a mutual friend, acting as if I would be upset with her.
Right.
And I said, tell her to call me. She did. At 3 in the morning, she wasn't sleeping well. And we had a very awkward conversation. Mostly just, I think literally she talked for an hour and a half, and I said probably 30 words. I just listened mostly. It was real. She wasn't sleeping. It was real crazy. But that's where she told me a lot of things that weren't true. I mean, and that could just be a relationship thing. I mean, I couldn't contact you until Jimmy Judkins talked to you,
Right.
I believe. And I don't know. I thought it was really strange not to. All my friends were texting with her, and she wasn't writing a lot back, but everyone else she acknowledged. One of my concerns, tell me if I'm paranoid, is Wendy's no dummy. She knows I know all this stuff. Now, she may not remember everything she ever said, but if there's one person, what she told me at one point was, no one knows me better than you. I said, who have you been intimate with in your life? What people have gotten to know you? She's a very superficial person. She said, 2 people have ever got to know the real me, you and Danny Markel. So it's been kind of anxiety provoking to get what happened to him. But in that conversation, there was a lot of lying.
Okay.
And I thought it wasn't like my feelings were hurt, but she just had someone get killed. If she was literally a victim, I would just say, take as much time as you need. I don't care. But there was something weird.
Okay. Let me see if this picture's available or not.
Okay.
It may be off.
Sorry about that. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, I was muted. I apologize. What I was saying is I'm reading the chat between Patricia and Jibs, and I agree that not only is ignoring them amusement for them, I think it's also the, and this term gets like put out there all the time, but like the gaslighting, meaning a couple, let's say Wendy and Jeff, right? Jeff's doing all these things to be a good boyfriend, including being in therapy and taking care of the kids and mopping her floors. And then she's out running around on him, essentially. And she does nothing to reassure the relationship and then blames him and acts like it's his behavior when she's put him to the point in the relationship where he has to, like, I guess, look at her phone and find out what she's doing. But then when he does that, then that's stalker behavior because my phone's my business. Da, 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 da. Well, like that's all I was just trying to say. Yeah, I just went off on like 3 tangents in that one statement. Oh. If they're a full-on narcissist, I think that there's no empathy there. But I don't really know what that means in regards to like love interest. Just real quick, we'll watch the rest of this, like the next 17 minutes, but then I'll probably end at that point. And I know that I don't even know where we started. I think that we like pretty much started at like the, I don't know, somewhere. It was definitely not the beginning. Okay, so here's where he starts talking to himself. Let's pay attention. He just says, "Oh," what's with the hand up next to his face, and he's like, "Oh, what's going on?" Oh, hang on. Sorry. Let me rewind it. Here. Okay. You guys, he makes this, he does this like deep breath type thing. And he's like, oh, what's going on? Very interesting. I wonder what that was.
obviously, if there's something else, we can meet again.
I got another quick thing for you, actually.
Absolutely.
The new examination call schedule for the antidepressants much more rapidly than was safe. And she stopped.
Can you guys hear me?
Dropped off the med completely on July 14th. She stopped.
Can you guys hear me?
That's
Okay, I'm sorry. I had a lapel mic on.
we determined that's the date
It
that
died.
the conversation happened about Charlie and the 50.
So when I saw that Patricia Burns said muted, I was like, oh, I'm not muted. But I realized that the lapel mic that I had on actually died. And so I got out.
15,000. But she doesn't tell you till later on.
I just said, how are the meds? And she goes, oh, I stopped those. I think first day I was back, which was Monday, July 14th. That was my first day off. So she's off them completely on that day.
Okay, so
Which, by the way, people have impulse control problems at that point, so that might be why she said that. I mean, it's
but she's telling you this when?
in August sometime.
Okay. She just stopped cold turkey? Or
I don't know. I just know that supposed to go down 10% a week. She wasn't doing that.
Okay. Okay.
If I think of anything, I'll get back in. I actually had two quick questions for you, if you don't mind.
Yep.
This is completely selfish, but I'm concerned about me in this situation. I'm wondering how long it is, in your opinion, before the media, before journalists are poking around looking at this case. And I'm worried about my potential exposure as a professor and as a person.
This is an open case. They can ask all they want to. They're not getting anything.
That's for the foreseeable.
I mean, I may call you. I mean, at some day you may be called as some type of witness.
I would do it in a second. Yeah.
Okay, I want to make sure that we're upfront about this. I mean, let's say it goes from here to an arrest to a prosecution.
I'm there.
And for some reason, your testimony is needed.
I would say anything I said today under oath. I would.
Okay.
So that's easy.
All right. But as far as anything prior to, anything that you're telling me, if for some reason that was, leaked to the press or anything like that, then I got an arrest to make of somebody else, no matter who it is.
I got you.
Okay.
I got you.
That makes such your mind at ease.
Well, mostly the other question is, I was foolish enough to trade emails with investigator Hale. Now, those, if the case ever does become closed, those are public information, are they not?
They would be considered public information, but someone would have to request them. And, for that, it would be something specific they would have to request.
I just saw the ones that leaked from Jameis Winston and went, oh crap, is this going to happen to me? Am I going to be, you know what I mean? Because Hose and I talked about her allegations of stalking in his emails. I'm like, oh, great. So
I would not worry about it.
Okay.
I mean, I don't see a concern there. I don't know exactly what you and Hale.
I just sent that email that you showed me, and my header to it was, does this sound like someone who's being stalked? This isn't trying to work this out with you, maybe, or maybe not, but there's no mention of that. So.
I look at that as you were showing a defense for why you would not be.
And then one other email I sent him, I pretty much accused her.
Okay. But I mean, obviously, it's more than that. I mean, yeah, you more than just suspect her at this point. That's what you've been telling me this afternoon, right?
No, that's true. That's
what I've basically gotten from you is this woman is directly involved.
She is.
Now, I don't think you're saying necessarily that she killed her ex-husband,
No.
but she either had something to do with orchestrating it or had knowledge that it was going to happen. That's the whole point about I have to be back on the 18th, right?
No, give you a thumbs up, and then and know what's going to happen. There's something weird about that date. So I don't think she doesn't have the skill to orchestrate it, but Charlie does. So that's correct. And
But you left on Thursday, and your last conversation with her was on Wednesday.
My last conversation with her was on Tuesday. An hour before that email where she says, look, I need a week.
No, on the email, she says she needs a week.
Yeah.
An hour before she sends the email, she says, are you still in town on
That's
Friday?
That's exactly right.
And you said, I don't know. it's still up in the air, but she did not ask you to stay in town.
No, she didn't, but like the next day I see Jane McPherson at work and maybe, there's all kinds of possibilities how she would have found out I was leaving. Do you have any suggestions if I know they're doing a dateline on the Frosch guy that killed his wife out in Thomasville and they already came to town. Any just advice for being an experienced investigator, what I should do if I'm approached by the media? Because it's not unimaginable.
Go talk to investigator Eisen.
Okay.
How simple is that?
That's easy.
Okay. Yeah, don't have to say yes, no, nothing. You're a U.S. citizen. You don't. There's nothing that. Yes, they have First Amendment in their favor, but that doesn't mean you have to say a thing.
No, I appreciate that, but I
Hey, can you guys hear me now? Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me now? Okay. Sorry. So I got these new lapel mics and it looks like they've run out of juice. So I don't have any mic anymore right now. But I wanted to thank Jibs because I talked to Jibs a lot. And they made the True Crime Wifey little avatar that I have, like the puzzle pieces. They made that for me. They also made a picture of, I guess it would be like a future picture of Donna Adelson in the Florida Department of Corrections. Let's see if I can figure out how to do it. Allison, yes. I don't know if I know how to do this. Is it just one page? I don't. See, right now I only know how to share my screen on YouTube. And I'm not going to click that stop screen because then I'll lose everything. Ooh, let me see. Oh, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to know how to do that. Hold on. Hey, Jordy, I see that you're here. Good to see you. Oh. Yeah, Allison, I don't think I know how to do that yet. I'm sorry. I only know how to share something on YouTube. Or share screen. Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, so hold on. I know how to do that part. It's going to take me 1 second. And I'm also on my laptop and I don't have a mouse like hooked up to the laptop, so I'm using the little built-in. Let me see. Oh. Okay. It said, oh, okay. I'm sorry, Jordy. I called you Jordy. Oh, I did not know that. So I'll make sure I call you Max. Screen share, click on, yeah. It's not working. Yeah, Allison, I don't think I'm going to be able to figure it out. I'm sorry. Oh, hang on. Oh, I might be able to figure this out. Hold on. Yeah, thank you, Allison. Yeah, because I mean, I'm very computer challenged, and I don't have good patience when it comes to computers. So things will like frustrate me. No, but Allison, thank you so much for attending. Well, Jibs knew I was going to go live. I just had told them that I didn't know exactly when. So, because I was trying to figure it out. But I sent Allison a link to my live probably like 30 minutes before it was going to happen. But that was because it took me an hour or so to actually set it up. And when things like change, like a view or so, I get frustrated. I was like, I was whining a little bit. So I know that we just had a couple people join, but we've been on here for, I don't even know. I think I've been live for almost 3 hours. So I want to thank everyone for coming on. And thank you for being here. Just to recap real quick, from the beginning of this, we watched the second Tallahassee Police Department interview with Jeffrey Lacasse. That was on July 23rd, 2014. Oh, it's okay, Allison. It's fine. I'm glad that you guys got the word out to a few people, so I'm happy. I did do a live months ago, and Jibs, of course, was there, and then 2 other people, I think, were the only ones who came, which was fine, but because I don't really know what I'm doing. But I want to thank everybody for coming. The first part of this video, we watched Jeffrey Lacasse's second interview with TPD. It was with Detective Corey Hale. And it's approximately 36 hours after his first interview with Isom. That's basically in the early morning hours of 7/21/2014. So Thank you again, everyone. And I am going to be saying good night. I appreciate it. And until next time. Good night. Thank you for attending.